Hey guys, Sundown here. This is going to be my chapter review to One Punch Man 129, Turning the Tide. Now, just for y'all who don't know yet, we've already released, or Grim should be in the process of releasing, the One Punch podcast, where we covered this chapter in depth, talked about everything, every interaction, every page, every storyline, plot line, everything, and a whole bunch more. Because all the guys on there have a great chemistry. So if you haven't seen it, if you don't know about it yet, go check that out. It's dope as shit. Go to Grim Reaper's channel, Grim with 2 M's, and you'll see everybody on that podcast. It's good. Just do it. Do it. You won't regret it. Anyway, going straight into this chapter. This chapter was good. It was awesome. So the first thing we see is the after effects. I hadn't realized the first time, and it was actually only through that podcast where I realized that this first page is the after effects, or are the after effects of Darkshine's bazooka and Garo's punch that turned him into what he is right now. But everything around them has been leveled out. The ground is flat. You can see these shafts of light coming from holes in the ceiling. There's dust, there's sand falling everywhere. They have decimated the area around them, which is pretty cool. We see Garo unleash a few attacks on Darkshine again, and where he realizes, it's not just his speed that's increased, it's his power. We see here Garo. What was said on the podcast was that he deflected Darkshine's attack with his thumb, but it didn't really look like a deflection to me. It looked more like you see Darkshine's punch. There was no change in trajectory. There was no like straight punch and then a vroom, like that, or leaning towards one side, suggesting he got punched or he got moved into another direction. It seemed to almost be like Garo was kind of calculating the distance. I'm not sure if I've seen fighters do this before, but kind of ducking the punch and trying to feel how far he is away from that arm. But the rock smashing fist, I think is what it was called, is very much based off of deflecting things. So I wouldn't put it past Garo if this was an actual deflection. I just wish there was more of a visual cue to suggest that this was what we think it is. Darkshine gets absolutely pummeled. People made mention of the fact that this was the same attack that Garo used on Metal Bat that knocked him out on his feet, basically. And you just see how powerful this attack is. First off, it makes Darkshine cave in, and he's huge to begin with, and you see the impact this attack has. So not only does it doesn't shatter the wall behind Darkshine, it kind of creates a crater in the wall that Darkshine's hit into, and all of this transfer of energy, you see it break the ground behind Garo and in front of Darkshine in a circular fashion. You see the floor beneath Garo's foot cave in beneath his foot. You see all of the walls behind Darkshine smashed to pieces. This was an insanely powerful attack, just from a perspective of what it does to Darkshine as well. So Darkshine, he falls down a lower level and he actually coughs up blood. This is the first actual sign of damage we've ever seen from Darkshine. He's bleeding from his nose, he coughs up a little bit of blood, and he's panting. He's like, holy shit, that attack was crazy. And I mentioned on the podcast, and I think Zonin might have had a level of agreement, but this was very reminiscent of what I think Luffy is trying to learn at the moment, which I think they refer to that type of haki. It falls underneath the Buso Shoku no haki, right? So the color of armaments. But it's like the second level of that. So it's attacking. So for instance, someone like Kaido, his exterior is so tough, and he can't be damaged, or Big Mom even, they can't be damaged really. It's attacking beneath that surface layer. So I've forgotten. I need to reread Wano actually, but it's kind of like having a more invasive kind of impact. So rather than just hitting the exterior and with such force that it destroys everything behind it, it's hitting the exterior and destroying what's behind it. Kind of like the Rasengan when Naruto and Sasuke first tried to kind of clash, and Naruto's exterior damage on that water tank when he hit it with the Rasengan was minimal. It had like a hole in it, but then when you looked at the back, it had blown the back out, which made Sasuke shit his pants. So I think that was the concept of this this new type of haki that what's his face Luffy's been learning, but I forgot what they've been teaching. So what was it Hyogoro was actually teaching him? It was something to do with, if you I'll get back to that. But I think that was the concept. I think I might be slipping up a little bit here. Anyway, Darkshine realizes here, he's like, oh my god, I'm being used as a stepping stone for Gado's evolution. Gado makes mention of the fact that, hey, weren't you here to stop my monster play? I'm still kicking, I'm still going. And this is where we get to see a little bit more of Darkshine's history. So Darkshine as a kid had hair, as you'd expect. And he was a really thin, really scrawny kid. Apparently he was bad at sports because of his frail body. So he had a frail body as well. He wasn't, I don't think he was very popular. He never had any self-confidence. He was a wimp. And then eventually he asked on his 15th birthday, he begged his parents for 3 kg dumbbells. He mastered those 3 kg dumbbells in every way, shape, and form. He was just curling them, apparently. He was curling them so hard, his glutes were contracting as well. I'm going to release a Darkshine workout video one day in honor of Zoni. Maybe when he hits 75k, I'll think about it. But yeah, so the weight of the dumbbells, he gradually increased them. This is like progressive overload to the max. So from 3 kg to 5 kg to 10 kg, a few years later, 50 kg with one arm, and then he was going from 50 kg to 200 kg, 500 kg, 1 ton, 2 tons, until eventually he just became this Herculean mass of friggin' just meat. He became muscle on muscle. He was muscle on top of muscle. And he reached a point where it says here he could no longer be quantified by numbers. Through his lonely battles and flawless victories, he successfully established an immense degree of self-confidence. So all of this training gave him that self-confidence he was lacking. All of that, I can't do this, all of that had been replaced with, I now know I can do this, I know I can do this, I know I can do this. If I've mastered this weight, time to move on to the next one. I've mastered this weight, time to move on to the next one. So he became very confident in his abilities. He became very confident in what he could do and his area of expertise, and that's what he was very comfortable with. So he was given that context of he has no muscle. His muscles have no equal. He dominated various sports, various probably weightlifting competitions as well. Then he turned his attention to the Hero Association, and he never stopped training. We're told that he kept on winning. He was eventually promoted to S-Class, so winning against monsters, and he never stopped looking for a great opponent who can push him to 100%. But then the chapter says, actually, was Darkshine looking for an opponent to fight that would push him to 100% and beyond? Was he actually looking for that? Is that Darkshine? And then as Gado's unleashing hell on Darkshine, we get some text that says no, he's looking for. And he gets absolutely wrecked by Gado again. Gado continues to absolutely wail on him just with speed, with power. Darkshine here is starting to worry. He's like, oh my god, this guy Gado is strong. He's really strong. And then we kind of go back to that point of, was he looking for a fight? Was he looking for an opponent who could push him to 100% and beyond? Was he looking for that? And then you see him, so that's a flashback to how he was, and then the context of who he is now. He says, but why? What is this feeling? I'm not looking forward to a fight, but I'm looking forward to a gratifying victory. So, and we get the author's note here where it says he never intended to be thrown into a fight, the outcome of which he cannot control. And the instant he thought, I might not escape the fight unscathed, flashes through his brain. And that's when he gets all of this fear. He gets this lack of self-confidence. So I think this is a really good point to address just as a kind of side piece. The difference between Darkshine and Saitama. So Darkshine, as we've pretty much just been told, he's been training and all that good stuff. Lifting weights, mastering them, going to the next one, mastering them, going to the next, and all of that good stuff. Progressive overload, never really stepping outside of his, never really stepping outside of this box of comfort he'd set up. He's always within that area where he was comfortable. He never experienced stepping outside of his comfort zone. That's the word I was looking for. And through that, even when he's been fighting with monsters and stuff like that, he's always been in fights. He's always been apparently in competitions, I think, in sporting events where he's like, I know I can win. I know I'm better than this person. I know I'm stronger than this person. I know I have a better physique than this person. I know I have a better deadlift than this person. I know my body looks better than this person aesthetically. I think I might have said that already. But he was always in a situation where he was like, I know that I can beat the person in front of me. And this is something that he probably hasn't experienced in forever, seeing as, since he was about 15, he's only been growing his self-confidence, growing his self-worth until he's not been an arrogant person per se, but he's had this self-confidence. I can't be hurt. I don't even know what's going to hurt me. I don't know what could hurt me. He's had such a kind of a layering of his self-confidence that he's been untouchable. But now that his shield, his outside, his exterior is getting pummeled to the point where his insides are getting hurt, he's just like, holy shit, that self-confidence is being stripped away from him. And that's what we kind of see in this chapter of he's in a situation where he's like, oh shit, I can't beat this person in front of me. What am I gonna do? This is unjourneyed, what's the word I'm looking for? This is untraveled areas. These are places I've never been to before. How do I deal with this? So that's exactly the situation where I think Darkshine is in now. This is a guy I don't know whether I can beat. I don't want to go beyond my 100%. I don't even want to go to my 100%. I'm comfortable with knowing that I can beat these people that I normally beat, but this guy I'm not ready for. And that's usually where Saitama, that's the difference between Darkshine and Saitama. Saitama has constantly been, I'm going to push myself to 100% and beyond. I don't know if I can beat this monster. I'm a fight. He'd fight and win. Then he'd go to the next one. I don't know if I can beat this one. Win. He'd be on death's door. I don't know. And he'd continue that. And that would be his constant evolution, you know? So he was, it's the difference between their mindsets. Darkshine was always in his, his comfort zone. Very much, I know I can do this. I'm going to stick to this and master this. Whereas Saitama was like, I don't know whether I'll be able to surpass this person. If I beat them, I've reached a new level. Very much like what Garo's doing right now, where he just jumps into like Orochi's fight. And he's like, oh shit, I don't know whether I can beat this person. I'm going to try. And then he gets his ass kicked. And then he comes back and he's like, okay, I'm going to try against the next guy. Rover gets his ass kicked. All that type of stuff. So even though the orders of those fights were different. But that's the essential difference between Darkshine and Saitama and Garo. So we then see this fear that Darkshine has forgotten. This, now that all of his self-confidence has been stripped away, all of that fear had grown larger and larger, and basically now it's encompassed him. And we see what's an amazing panel. I think I might make my thumbnail, where we see Garo in like this really, really roughly drawn, electrifying kind of elemental beast looking form, a giant compared to Darkshine, but that's how he perceives him right now with his lack of self-confidence. And it gets to the point where Darkshine swings out of fear. He's just there like screaming in the agony of his anxiety, essentially, and he just throws at Garo in desperation. This is something which we've never seen from Darkshine before. And like I said, it's not necessarily something which I think takes away from Darkshine's stock. Maybe in terms of strength, yeah. But in terms of a character, this adds so much depth to Darkshine as a character. He's not just this meathead. He's not just this person who's untouchable. He does have his fears. He does have issues with his self-confidence. And now that he's getting pummeled and he can't do anything about it, now that his weakness is not having stepped out of his comfort zone, he's just been comfortable where he is in his own niche field. Now that all of this external, all these external things are occurring to him that he can't control, the fear has come back. So I'm hoping this will only actually improve Darkshine, but it has made his character so much more, so much deeper. He has much more depth to him than Darkshine had just a few chapters ago. We see Garo here about to strike Darkshine both of his ears. But as he's about to do this, he flashes back, this is Garo, to how he used to get bullied as a kid and how he imagines, or how he saw Tario getting bullied, which was their ears were getting pulled. And he stops mid-attack. Garo's just like, hey, I can't do this. So Darkshine, he gets back up. If you look at him externally, he's completely fine. It's just his insides which have been damaged, and even his insides don't seem to have been damaged extensively. He coughed up blood, yeah, but that's kind of like anime, bro. Anybody in an anime can cough up blood and be like, yeah, I'm good, we're all fine, and my internal organs are still squeaky clean. But what I liked here was Garo. Once again, it comes back to that: what is he? Is he a hero? Is he a villain? We know very much that Garo's kind of sense of villainy is very twisted. It's all about this, the lack of. I'm trying not to confuse this with Twice in My Hero Academia, but it's that lack of all of you. There are heroes which are there for the money, which of the heroes are actually heroic, which of the heroes actually stand for the people, all that type of stuff. That's what Gato wants to know more about. And he's like, he didn't, the fact that he was bullied as a kid and he was called, called a monster, and he could identify with the monsters, just being ganged on by everyone. That's been kind of Gato's thing. But even here, you can see that slight, the human side of Gato, which is always there. He's like, I feel like I'm almost bullying Darkshine. I'm gonna become more evil, and this. I'm gonna be doing far more than this. But he couldn't hack the sesh that he was bullying this guy. He made a guy scream, go eek, and he was just like, this doesn't feel right. Like I may be trying to be a monster and all that shit, but this don't feel good. This isn't what I was trying to achieve. So Gato then seems to. I'm not sure what happens here. You see a crack on his shoulder, like there's a sound effect suggesting something just popped in his shoulder, and he drops down to the ground. Darkshine is suddenly encased in Tatsumaki's telepathic bubble or barrier, and he's pulled up into the air while the ceiling collapses. So Tatsumaki is turning the whole association inside out. And what I liked here was Darkshine actually has a level of concern for Gato. He sees Gato collapse to the ground, puts out his hand. He's like, "Hey, you all right?" I mean, like Darkshine, all of his self-confidence has just been stripped away. He was just getting his ass beat by this guy. Even then, Darkshine cares for Gato. He realizes that he's not a monster, and he realized what Gato did. He saw him stop mid-attack, and he's wondering, like, the hell. So he knows. I think Darkshine knows, and is probably the first hero to understand that Gato isn't innately an evil person per se. I need to do more of an insight into Gato's character and read up on his history again. I've forgotten what it was, and what his ideology was. I remember saying, like, going through his ideology in one of my reviews, but I can't remember which review it was. But yeah, so what Darkshine says here is, Gato, you need to escape. You're gonna get crushed if you stay down there. Run, showing that level of empathy, that level of care again, and then he's just shipped away through the sky. And the only thing that Darkshine is left with is the regret and the shame of having said eek while he was about to get clapped. So then he's there in his little bubble, kind of holding his knees, ashamed, hurt, his self-confidence stripped, hopefully rock bottom, where he can now start to build back up from and become a better hero as a result of this. Gato, I think, is gonna reach a whole new level of Zenkai once he gets squished by the ceiling coming down. So we'll see where that goes. But I thoroughly enjoyed this chapter, and I think that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of this review. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I think that's it. So I'll see you guys in a bit.